You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping and reacting to Black Adam, from Kahndaq to the Hawkman estate and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Hawkman has an estate?
That's what I said. I did not know that he
someday.
had an estate. That's an incredibly light spoiler for this movie, Black Adam. This review is gonna be mostly spoiler free. There's not like a ton to spoil. Like, I'm not gonna get super detailed anyways. And also Steve hasn't seen it. We are gonna cover a couple more spoilery things towards the end, and at that point, we'll make that clear when I'm gonna jump into spoiler territory. For those of you watching or listening, can stop at that point. But anyway, yes, I saw Black Adam. And so did a lot of other people. I saw at least the opening night was the highest grossing opening for a movie starring The Rock in his career.
Wow.
So far.
That seems...
Yeah.
That's actually kind of impressive.
I know. It's like I haven't seen a weekend numbers. I don't know if they've released a weekend number because it's Sunday night right now, so they may not have them all yet. But Steve, I'm sure you're looking that up right now. So you start typing something.
It's what the guy in the chair does.
Yeah.
67 million opening.
67.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
And that's just domestic.
Yeah. So highest opening of The Rock's career. I think you take a bankable star like The Rock and you throw him in a superhero movie, and a DC superhero movie, so like a well-known franchise, a well-known character.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
you're gonna
like
make some money.
Random Image Comics, whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
We're not grabbing an IDW star and putting The Rock in one of their movies.
Right. Initial spoiler-free reaction. I liked this movie quite a bit. It didn't completely set my world on fire, but it wasn't bad. I've read some negative reviews that I just don't think are accurate. I just don't agree with. I don't know. Like, it is. It's very good. The effects look great, and it's a very effect-heavy movie. Story was okay. Story was like a little predictable. That's why I said there's not a ton to spoil. It's like kind of, yep, Black Adam is ruthless, and the JSA. It's kind of, if you saw the trailers, this is kind of what happens. JSA comes to stop him. They come to a head, and then does he slaughter all of the JSA? I guess that would be a spoiler if I said that. So I guess I won't finish that sentence. But you can imagine. Use your common sense. So yeah, I like this movie a lot. It was a strange combination of, Steve, I don't know if you feel this way, but like when you think of, if I say a movie starring The Rock, I have a certain movie or feel for a movie that comes into my brain. Do you feel like that, or is it just me?
No, yeah, it's there's definitely like it's formulaic. Like he is in The Rock type movies. If he's the top billed talent in the movie.
Right. Yeah. And I felt like at times this felt like what I feel like when I think, I guess let me have me try to describe what I think, what I'm trying to say when I say that, like just like kind of constant action, more of a focus on action than on character development or like nuanced dialogue, and it's all like high octane action that looks sleek, looks great, and that's all. The movie is focused on that and less focused on let's develop these characters.
Right.
I got a mix of that with also like good quality like modern superhero filmmaking at the same time. So it didn't completely feel like, I don't know, Hobbs and Shaw or whatever other movie where he climbs the building. I don't know. Didn't really feel completely like that because it had more depth than a movie like that, I think. But there were times when you could, where you lacked a little bit of character development in lieu of, a badass action scene, which also is fine because you get awesome action scenes. I guess that would be one of my critiques, is that I wish there was a little bit more time spent on developing characters, not just Black Adam, because you do, obviously he's the star, he's the title character, so you do get a good amount of character development for him. But when you start introducing members of the JSA, Justice Society, you get 4 very interesting characters, and I wish we got to spend a little more time with them, or like learning more about them and how they like interact. And you get a fair amount. It's not like you walk out knowing nothing, but I would have taken a little bit more.
Well, just anecdotally, for as stupid of whatever your thoughts on Rotten Tomatoes are, the dichotomy in this shows a lot.
Yeah, it's wild, right? That you're talking about the difference between the audience score and the critic score.
The critic score, if you had told me this was the critic score, I would have told you, holy shit, this thing is not going to be good. The tomato meter, quote unquote, is at 40%.
Yeah, I know.
Meanwhile, right next to it, the audience score is at 90%.
Yeah.
Which it's mildly hilarious from my standpoint, because it is a dramatic and diametric shift from a lot of any of these movies that have been review bombed, where critically they're in the 90s and they show up as scores in the 50s because people have been review bombing it and whatever.
Right.
Apparently The Rock doesn't get that treatment.
Apparently not. And yeah, I think I saw that statistic as well, and I think 40% is harsh. I feel like I've seen bad movies, and I have bad movies that I wanted to be good, and I was excited to see this movie. I wasn't like so hyped that I was gonna like love everything that it did unconditionally. So in my opinion, 40% is way too harsh for this movie.
Do you want even dumber?
Sure.
The quote-unquote top critics on Rotten Tomatoes, it is a 29%.
Jeez. That's wild. That's wild to me. Like, is this the greatest superhero movie of all time? No. Does it reinvent the genre? No, it doesn't. It's firmly a superhero movie. Like, there's a character
It doesn't
you're
shift
invested
the
in.
balance of power in the DC universe, as The Rock
I mean,
touted it as for
It's
his
certainly.
entire
I read
press.
one review said the balance of power in the DC universe stays pretty much the same. But I don't know if that's really true. But maybe after this movie. But like now, this is him being introduced into the DC universe.
Right.
I feel like once we maybe see him go up against Wonder Woman or somebody that we know is a staple of the DC universe, then we might be like, oh, okay, he's like really a threat. And they certainly go above and beyond to make sure we know how powerful he is and how much of a threat he would be if he got out of control, more or less.
Right.
And they do that. They do it very well. Like, so I mean, back to what I was saying is it doesn't reinvent the genre of superhero movies. It is a superhero movie. It's a little bit different because Black Adam is a anti-hero, and certainly hardly even that at the beginning of the film. But like, I don't know. Some of the dialogue was like not terrible, but not great. It's not Wonder Woman. It's not the Suicide Squad. It's not Shazam. Those are my 3 favorite DCEU movies. I think I rated this around where I would rate like Aquaman. In terms of like, it looks great, story is fine, but it was a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun watching this movie, and part of the reason I had a ton of fun was the introduction of Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher, the Justice Society of America. And not all of those characters are like the most well-known members of the Justice Society. Hawkman is, for sure. Dr. Fate's been in and out. Cyclone is a character I'm not very familiar with at all, and Atom Smasher I have a little bit more familiarity with, but they're not like the stars of the JSA. And I realized while watching this movie why they picked those 4 characters is because their powers are all radically different and all visually interesting to be depicted on screen in live action. I mean, you got Hawkman, who I feel like would be a tough character to bring to live action because he's got like a bird helmet on his head. And they just do that in a way that makes it look good and interesting and not like a joke. He's got giant wings and a cool like mace weapon that he's swinging around. Like that looks awesome. Dr. Fate, who I love, incredible. Pierce Brosnan is incredible as Dr. Fate, doing all this kind of weird magic illusion stuff. Cyclone's powers were gorgeous. I wanted more of her, kind of like flying through the air and like colored smoke, and she's like controls wind. She has wind-based powers, and Atom Smasher can just grow really big. So there's like 4 different kind of power sets, and they all are visually interesting, which makes the movie more visually interesting. And all of them are different power sets from Black Adam. So there's a cool, when they're like fighting each other, it looks cool because they're not just all trying to punch each other really hard. If you got like if it was like Superman versus Black Adam or something, then it would be like, okay, they kind of have the same powers.
Right.
So it's just not as visually interesting. But
yeah. Meanwhile, you've got him going against Storm and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. Oh wait, wrong universe.
Right, wrong universe. But yes, yeah, more or less.
Another man in the chair thing for you. You talked about, or we were talking about opening weekend. From the other side of the coin, and it's relatively right in line. October opening weekend for an anti-hero back in 2018, Venom opened at just under 80 million. So,
wow, yeah, and that was a movie that no one expected to make that much money.
Right, and then
wild, yeah.
Well, and it's funny because then Let There Be Carnage was 90 million.
Wow, really?
Yeah, somehow.
Whew. Wild.
And then it didn't do much after that, but
people love those symbiotes.
Yeah,
for sure. People love those symbiotes.
Yeah, I was.
And
just
that's also like the challenge of this movie. I think is like Black Adam's not necessarily an A-list character,
right? And that's kind of why I brought it up. Was like, for lack of a better description, it's probably Dwayne Johnson carrying Black Adam into the continuity, because
I think so. Yeah, I think because he happens to like that character a lot, and when we get to our main episode, we're going to talk about a lot of DC news and a couple quotes that he talked about how much he loves the DC universe and wants to be a part of it and wants to kind of like help shepherd it along. And I think that's going to be huge for DC fans and huge for the DC EU moving forward. But yeah, I think in this case, again, it's not like you have an A-list actor playing an A-list character. It's not like The Rock is playing Batman or something. It's The Rock is playing a B or C-list character that has ties to A-list characters, but those are ties that we're just not going to see until down the road, I think.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, I really like this movie. I had a lot of fun, and I think I'm going to segue into some spoilery things because we don't want this review to go on super duper long. So if you haven't seen Black Adam and you don't want it spoiled for you, stop listening right now, or stop watching right now. Okay? Are you gone? Are you gone? Be gone. Okay.
You should be.
Cool. Actually, this isn't really a spoiler, but this is something that I liked very much about it, and I realized during while I was watching it, a part of the reason that this movie does separate itself from other superhero movies or other movies in the genre. I think there's one scene in this movie at the aforementioned Hawkman estate, one scene that takes place in the United States. The rest of the movie takes place in like a Middle Eastern country of Kahndaq, a fictional country, but it's canon in DC comic books. That Black Adam's like the protector of this small country. He ends up being the protector of, which happens in the movie. But I thought it was really cool. Like, it doesn't take place in the United States, and all but one of the actors in the movie are people of color. There's only one other. Sorry, there's a cameo of a white person during the film, and Pierce Brosnan is the only like main character that shows up. The cameo, I will say, there's a few cameos in the movie full. In the main movie, I guess you call it a cameo, although she was in the trailer, so we knew that Amanda Waller was going to be in this movie, which was great. Sets it firmly within the DC EU, along with both Suicide Squad movies. And also, to further connect it to the Suicide Squad, at one point they go to a Task Force X, station or something somewhere, and Amelia Harcourt shows up from Peacemaker and from Suicide Squad. So it was cool to see her as well. Definitely, I think there are probably some more Easter eggs in this movie that I might you might be able to find if you go back and watch it again, or if you're, if you have the ability to pause it, whenever it's on streaming or Blu-ray. I'm trying to think. I think there was like something else I wanted to say about it. Talked about the power set. Oh, the other thing about this was in the trailer. This struck me as strange that in the trailer they made it clear, like his voiceover says, like, I was a slave and these people took my son from me. They killed my son or something, and now I'm out for vengeance or something. They say that in the trailer.
Yeah.
But then in the movie, it's like they save the fact that his son was killed. They play it off as kind of like it's supposed to be like a twist towards the end. And I was like, are they to the point where during the first 2/3 of the... Sorry, what'd you say?
So that was one of the first things they announced in the trailer.
I know, yeah. And to the point where then the first 2/3 of the movie, I was like, I guess they're not doing that son thing. They must have like re-edited the movie or cut it out or something, because they're not even dealing with it at all. It seems like they're making it this other thing. And it's kind of hard. I'd explain what I'm saying, but it would take too long to like explain kind of the plot. And I just thought that was strange that it would have been a more emotional, like the twist would have paid off better in an emotional way if they hadn't put it in the trailer. And so I guess they thought they had to make a connection with the character in the trailer. I don't know. Damn it. There was one other thing I was going to say. Yeah, some of the dialogue was a little corny. There was like a kid character that I didn't think he was a great actor, and he had a lot to do. So I was kind of like, oh, all right, I'm ready to get back with the adults now. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this in the non-spoiler part. He straight up murders tons of people in this movie. Like, he is from the get-go bad dude, wakes up from his 5,000-year imprisonment or coma or sleep or whatever, and just starts
utterly
frying people with his electricity and just wrecking shop. That's why I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. For people that are worried that he's not going to be a villain, he is a straight-up murderer right out of the gate. They make that clear. And I was also wondering, when I was going in, I was like, are they going to have him say Shazam at all? Because he gets the same powers as Shazam from the same person that gives Shazam his powers, and that's his magic word, same magic word. And yeah, it says it all the time, says it a lot. So like, Shazam does not appear. Sorry, go ahead.
I did not realize that the wizard Shazam is played by Jimon Honshu.
Yep.
Who is Korat the Pursuer in the MCU, and also has like 7,000 roles in DC films.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had been in, he was the Fisherman King in Aquaman. He's Shazam.
Oh, yeah.
And he's Papa Midnight in Constantine.
That's right. I forgot that he was in Constantine. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, he plays the other character in Guardians of the Galaxy and in Captain Marvel.
Yeah. So,
right?
You know, he went from Amistad, Gladiator in America, and Blood Diamond to making some bank with superhero movies all the time.
He's making nerd money for sure now. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I did like that they incorporated that. Like, Shazam doesn't appear in the movie, but I feel like it's impossible to not realize that they are tied in some way from the wizard, from the magic word, that they're saying. But okay, we're gonna wrap. I think I've said all the things I'm gonna say before the biggest spoiler of this movie, which
doesn't have anything
seems
to do with
like
the movie.
seems like it was the worst kept secret in Hollywood. Because I had kind of heard it before. I was trying to dodge confirmation. It's not in the movie proper, but the mid-credit scene. There's no post-credit scene. There's a mid-credit scene in which Black Adam is having a conversation via like hologram message thing with Amanda Waller. And Amanda Waller says, if you step out of line or if you leave this country, I'm going to take you down. He says, there's no one on Earth that is powerful enough to take me down. She says, well, I can make a quick phone call to someone that's not from Earth and have them come and visit you or whatever. And he said, bring it on. Then all of a sudden you hear a whoosh and you hear a landing and there's a cloud of dust that comes up, and walking slowly and beautifully and majestically out of that cloud of dust is Superman, played by Henry Cavill. And goddamn, I gotta tell you, I was smiling bigger than I possibly than I thought I could when I saw Henry Cavill return as Superman. And I like Zack Snyder's Justice League just fine. It's not my favorite. It's fine. But I like Man of Steel. But I gotta say, I felt like in this 20 seconds that he was on screen, I felt like he looked more like Superman. Costume was bright blue, bright red. It wasn't those muted
The old
to try to
classic.
make him badass. It wasn't the black and silver like Superman's got to be cool and wear black costume bullshit. He had a little curl coming down from his hair, and he didn't come out swinging. He walked up and said, "Black Adam, it's been a long time since the world has felt this nervous. We should talk." Just like coming to him as an equal or as a friend, not trying to like that is Superman.
Yeah.
And I was just like, God damn, you're doing it. Henry Cavill has returned.
And also strutting up to him as if there's nothing this guy can do to me. I am not afraid.
Right, exactly.
He's
Not
just like, "Nah,
out of
it's
fear.
fine.
He's
Like,
not coming out of fear. He's not coming with aggression. He's
let's
just
figure this
coming
out."
with like, you and I should talk and try to find some common ground and make sure that this is going to work out,
Yeah.
which is exactly what he would do until it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So I left the theater smiling huge. But I did read after that apparently, although as we'll talk about in our main episode tonight, that the Warner Brothers is very, very intent on having Henry Cavill as Superman return in a big way. He has not re-signed a lengthy contract. He signed for one appearance in the mid-credit scene of Black Adam, and so he hasn't re-signed to portray the character long term yet.
Roughly translated as, I'm coming back for this. When you see this reaction, I'm getting my money.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna get paid. I'm coming back, but I'm getting paid.
Like, you can throw money or a number at me, but I know it's going to be bigger after this scene, so we're going to do it then.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's that. That's Black Adam. I like this movie a lot. I thought all the characterizations of all the characters in the movie, I thought were very well done. I thought they were like spot on as far as how I read them from the books. I just wish that I got a little more time with some of them.
Other thought,
and that's
you guys
really it.
really
Like-
like Justice, don't you?
What? Sorry, say that again.
You guys really like Justice over on the DC side. It's like
Oh, big
Justice
fans of
League,
Truth and
Justice, like, yeah, Truth, Justice, and
Yeah.
like, come on, guys, like, there's more words in the English language than justice.
Hey, I know that, but I didn't create either
But in
of
the
those things. I just love them.
1950s or 40s or whatever all of it was made, you
Yeah.
know, a little less creativity.
Yeah. Hey, at least we don't have anybody named Captain DC.
Well,
I'll tell you
know.
that. Anyway, that's what I got for Black Adam. I liked it a lot. I'll be excited to see it again when it is available to me to see again. And so stay tuned. We're going to do a quick recap of episode 7 of Andor and then move into our main weekly review of all the nerd news, which is mostly DC stuff, I got to tell you. But so stay tuned for that. And until then, Steve, you want to tell them all the things that you're good at telling them?
Yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, check us out on all the socials, themultiverseport.com, multiverseport@gmail.com. You know, subscribe and leave a review wherever you can to trick the algorithm into liking us more.
Please.
And yeah, catch us around either Twitch, YouTube, any of your podcast platforms of choice. That's about all I got.
All right. Cool. Sounds good. So until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.